Well, when I graduated from college, there were no jobs in forestry at all. It was during the Vietnam era. About the only job I could find was with the U.S. Air Force as a civilian in St. Louis with the Aeronautical Chart and Information Center. And they're very fascinating work. They hired a lot of foresters because of all of the surveying and aerial photography and that kind of training that we had in college. But there I got to work on a number of things that were very fascinating, making maps, navigation maps for low-level bombing missions. Mostly at that time was in the Middle East. That was before the conflict really developed to where it is right now, and I didn't know why I was making maps of the Middle East, but and I couldn't talk about it because it was all so classified. I couldn't talk about it for 10 years. But then I also got to work on some of the Gemini space shots, making the navigation maps where they would track the orbits of the mission as it was going around. So that was fascinating, and also even got to do a little bit of the lunar mapping before they ever landed on the moon. And so that was, it was an intriguing job up there, but it wasn't Texas. And that was in St. Louis. And so at the time I graduated, and shortly thereafter and much before that, the Texas Forest Service was not interested in hiring foresters from Stephen F. Austin. That was just a no-no, because at the time the program was said to not be accredited by the Society of American Foresters, and they kind of had a bad attitude, I think, for Stephen F. Austin, and so they just would not hire foresters from there. But while I was in St. Louis, they somehow saw the light, and they had hired a couple of my good friends, and those two friends sent me a note and said, you ought to apply for this position that's open. And I thought I'd do that, anything to get back to Texas. I don't know anything about the Texas Forest Service, but it doesn't matter. If it'll get me back to Texas and out of St. Louis, we'll give that a shot. Sure enough, I got hired, and but I always thought if I can get back to Texas, I'll stay with the Forest Service until something better comes along. And sure enough, 42 years later, retirement came along, and I haven't regretted a bit of it. It's been great.